Hey everybody, it's CJ.
Hey.
And it's everyone else that's on this podcast.
I should have done that a little better, yes. We are back with another episode of Superfriends, and what episode is this, guys? I know last week was Marvelite 28 or 29. This is Superfriends.
This is 33.
33,
yes.
Still keeping pace ahead of Marvelite, looking like we're going to get to episode 50 a lot quicker than they are, and then we're going to have to take like a month or two off.
We'll just all have to be on Marvelite instead.
There you go. We've got to speed it up. 2 Marvelites a week now.
Yeah.
Although this week is a pretty good example of that. There's way more Marvel news than there is DC news. It seems like we've kind of fallen into the post-Batman v Superman lull.
Mm-hmm.
I expect we'll actually get more news, within the next month. But right now it's kind of dry. But we do have a lot of people talking about a lot of interesting things. We're going to start you off with some details about Jim Gordon. Then we're going to talk about James Wan on Aquaman. The Rock teased a pretty cool thing for Black Adam today. And then we actually have some fan questions for the first time ever, guys. I'm excited to finally...
Since episode 4 or something.
Yes, but these are actually really good questions, and I feel like they're actually going to get a really good discussion going. So let's start off with what I think is probably the biggest news. JK Simmons talked about Jim Gordon for the first time since he was cast. Are you guys cool if I read the quote?
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, sure.
All right, so here we go. Well, to read the comics, yes, absolutely. I'm still a couple of months out from doing that, and I have 2 other films before then, so I haven't gotten started on that. Obviously, a lot of really wonderful actors have played that character previously, and most of them I saw at the time the movies came out, never imagining that I would be doing the same thing. So, I can't say that I don't have some impression of that character in my head that's based on what I saw, but I'm not planning on going back and watching any other films. I'm just planning on learning as much as I can about him through the comics and getting my feet wet in the first movie, and then hopefully continuing on from there. I take this from my days doing theater. If I was doing a musical, I would never listen to the cast album because I wanted to do my version of something. I'm sure there will be differences and similarities with what Gary Oldman or Pat Hingle have done before, but I'm just going to try to do my take on it and be informed as I can about the rich history of the Batman universe going into it. So a lot to digest there. JK Simmons apparently has seen the other Batman movies, first and foremost. Interesting to talk about, his method and kind of what he does going into it. And then the Pat Hingle reference was pretty cool. But I think the biggest thing that stands out to me is him saying that he wants to really draw more from the history of the Batman universe than the previous movies. That sounds like a good sign to me. What do you guys think?
I think that's a very good sign. My only question is, what comics is he going to read? What inspiration is he going to grab from?
That's
that's an interesting question.
The best.
Yeah, because that's very subjective. What is the best? I hope not to bash on
nothing
DC
New 52.
Not to bash on DCNU, but definitely don't read that to be Gordon, Commissioner Gordon.
Doesn't J.K. Simmons look like he could be Bat Bunny Gordon though?
Maybe 20 years ago.
Maybe 20. Oh, come on now.
He doesn't have facial hair, so he shaved it all off. He's gonna be Bat Bunny. You know what? Considering the type of Batman we got, I wouldn't be surprised if he's gonna actually take inspiration from Dark Knight Returns. It seems obvious, the obvious choice to do.
I say it's an interesting question because my favorite Gordon in any comic is, it's Year One, I think, and I would love for him to draw more from that than anything, but it's kind of that would be a really weird contrast if he's drawing from Year One, literally the very beginning of the Batman storyline, and then we've got a Batman that's closer to Dark Knight Returns era Bats. Nick, what are your thoughts on this? Where would you like him to draw from, specifically?
I think it will be more from the Return story, because when they released some images of him, Ben Affleck's Batman, stand next to the bat signal, it says it was a relic from the Gordon era. So that just makes me seem that they used to be they worked together a while ago, and Gordon is kind of retired maybe from the police force or something. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing too, is how they're going to spin Gordon if they're doing the Dark Knight timeline, because of course in the Dark Knight Gordon is retired and Eileen Yindel is the commissioner, so it'd be really interesting to see what they do. In Justice League, I guess we're probably going to get a scene kind of like the one in Dark Knight Returns where he's drinking with Jim. And maybe, because it says, we can draw from JK Simmons' quote as well, where he says he's still a couple of months out from doing his scenes, but we know Justice League is roundabout starting production, like, right now.
No, Justice League is shooting now. Like, we just haven't seen anything.
Exactly. So it's shooting now, but he's not going to... He's a couple of months out from that, so he's going to come in what seems to be either the middle...
He's going to come in for the Darkseid fight sequence. He's going
there
to be
you
the
go.
seventh
One
member.
any gum? One any gum?
He's actually Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter.
Oh, that would be a
Go
twist.
watch that character bio. But Bruce would go back to hating aliens, I'm sure.
I've been lied to.
I like the casting
my
though.
title.
I've always liked it didn't. J.K. Simmons was never my first choice, but once I saw it, I was like, wow, that's great.
Exactly. It's one of those castings where you don't think about. It's not one of those where you're doing fan cast, because pretty much all the fan casts were probably, I don't even know. I can't remember.
Bryan
off the top of my
Cranston.
head.
Yeah,
Bryan
he was,
Cranston
like,
was the
top
biggest one. You're right.
He voiced him.
He did.
Yep, exactly. So you're kind of looking at that, and you're saying, if it's not Bryan Cranston, I really don't think about anyone else. And they say JK Simmons, and you're like, whoa, like that is really good.
I think that really
yeah.
blew people's minds because everyone had in their mind for him to go back to playing Jonah, so they didn't even think about putting him in the DC universe or anything like that.
Exactly. It's the best you didn't think of. And it's weird that it didn't occur to you. But the other thing is, to me, how old is Ben Affleck?
He's in his
42.
Yeah, he's like 40, yeah.
42? Okay. I was going to say, because I was trying to think about the relative age between J.K. Simmons and Ben Affleck, and J.K. Simmons is 62. So he is 20 years older than Affleck. So if he was, if Batman was getting his start when he was, 25, let's say,
Just like the
then Gordon would have been 45 and would have been well into a police career. So it makes sense for him to be retired. I guess you could spin him, but I mean, even at 61, J.K. looks pretty young for 61. I mean, he doesn't have much hair.
Yeah, I was about to say, like he definitely looks young. If they wanted to do a younger Gordon, they definitely could do it because he doesn't. He looks good for his age.
Lieutenant
Yeah,
Gordon.
and that's
Yeah.
See, that's the other thing. Is if he's
Lieutenant
supposed to be
Gordon.
this
I can't wait to
legendary
see
police chief,
J.K.
you
in
gotta-
Skull Island.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's going to be, yeah. I was just going to say, like, it'll be really interesting to see if they do JK, if he's supposed to be this legendary police chief and he's still pretty young, like, how would they force him to retire that early? I don't know. I feel like they might actually age him up a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see what role he plays in Justice League, but then going forward into the Batman solo film, because he does talk in that quote about going forward from where he's at now.
Right.
Yeah.
And depending on that BVS extended cut, maybe they'll have more references to the police department, like maybe reference to Gordon and whatnot.
What if Jenna Malone is playing Yendel?
Oh, no, wasn't she confirmed to be Barbara?
I don't think so. I think that casting report was fake.
Ooh, what if she was Yendel? That would be a twist right
That'd be a
there.
big
What a
There you
twist!
go.
Yeah, there you go.
You heard it here first, Fanboy Nation. But let's move on to the next topic, because where I come from, MC means lose the crowd.
I don't get it.
Yeah, who said that bozo? Oh, maybe. What was his name?
That
Oh,
bozo.
Mayimba.
With all due respect, I actually love his new show. It's just we don't have any scoops to talk about right
Dude,
now.
but his
I
co-host
think I
is
get it
awful.
now.
Daniel Alter.
Oh, come on
That
now.
that Joker who produced Hitman.
I shouldn't have started on this, but
Let's move on.
I barely
I couldn't
get it.
resist. And our next topic, we got a little bit about Aquaman. James Wan actually recently talked to MTV News about a variety of things, mainly pertaining to Aquaman, of course.
No, Aquaman.
His feature, Aquaman.
Aquaman.
From his take on the iconic character to how he'll handle Arthur Curry's origin, as well as how his movie, which comes after the Justice League, will actually tie into Justice League. It actually happens smack dab in the middle between Justice League Part 1 and Part 2, right?
Yeah, Throne of Atlantis, dude.
Throne of Atlantis. And that's, okay, so let me read the quote, if that's cool again, and then we'll talk a little bit about that. So here we go. A big part of it was me telling them what potential I saw in this character. He's speaking about his pitch. As we all know, Aquaman is somewhat the butt of the joke in the superhero world. There's something cool about that. I love the idea of being the underdog, coming in with a take on this underdog character and completely blow people's expectations away. Like, oh, you thought he was going to be wimpy? No. It's going to be so cool. There's Justice League that happens before it, so I have to be respectful to that, but in a lot of ways it's a continuation, but there are origin elements in it as well, and that's the story that I'm excited to tell.
Huh.
So that's really interesting, but it does kind of talk about, Nick, what you were talking about before. So it's a continuation in ways, and that might be a hint. So it might be a continuation of what we see in Justice League, which
that's why
from
Mira
the rumors
is there.
is going to be Throne of Atlantis, which is, that's exactly. That's kind of why Mira has to be there, and that's why I think it's such a big deal that Amber Heard has been cast. That's why they're making it such a big deal, I should say. So what do you guys think about this? James Wan, of course, a horror director. If we do see Throne of Atlantis pretty faithfully adapted in the Justice League, which I honestly think should be the call, so we get Orm out of the way, what do you think would happen in Aquaman's standalone?
The Trench.
More of his origin.
Trench.
That we're not going to see in Justice League.
I want to see some sea monsters and stuff like that, like the underwater, like just explore that era, like that kingdom.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to get Black Manta as well. I think.
Yeah, like
maybe have him.
Put him in
some way,
Suicide
with the
Squad
Trench.
too.
Put him in the origin
True.
with the father stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Throne of Atlantis could be the thing in Justice League, it would be nice to see. Because I would see it as like the Atlanteans see Orm as like their true, like the true son of Atlantis, and then when he gets defeated, it would be nice to see mostly underwater Arthur trying to like win back his people while fighting giant monsters. Because I don't want it to just be I don't want it to just be a political thing, Nick. Because I knew that's what you were going to say. I don't want it to just be that. I want him to fight monsters.
I don't want it to be the people don't like him, because then we get another Superman scenario.
Well, it's not like the people don't like him. It's just like he's like the. Well, yeah, they don't like him. But
I want him to be outrageous, like
I would see.
Well, I don't think we're ever going to get that.
Dude, but
I would see the easier thing as, maybe a little bit of what we kind of see in like Game of Thrones is a pretty big hint. I'm not just saying that because of course Momoa was Khal Drogo, and that's kind of the role that made him famous.
No, Cal Moa.
Khaleesi.
Khal Moa.
Aquamoa.
It's probably going to be Aqua Drogo. Calman? No, but whatever. It's it'd be really interesting to see. When there are thrones, there's always someone that thinks they have a better right to the throne than anyone else. That's just how royalty works.
Oh,
it's a constant battle, and that's kind of where I think Orm could come in, where they say, okay, Aquaman, excuse me. It's like Aquaman has the throne. But,
yeah, it's really hard to say Aquaman.
It really is.
Yeah, that would be a good question.
I'm fighting myself on that. But it's like, so, Aquaman has the throne, technically by birthright, but he's not even really Atlantean. He's part human. That's, I should be the one to have it. And, like, cast Orm.
It's like a Loki
kind of,
deal.
Yeah, kind of Loki-ish, kind of like more as in like an usurper to the throne. And maybe he sees, like in Throne of Atlantis, maybe he sees that as his... his motivation. He's like, with this, I can win back the throne. I can, show myself to be, good.
Yeah.
Good enough for the crown.
But here's my question: How old is this Aquaman gonna be, and how long has he been with his Atlanteans, his fellow Atlanteans? Like, when did he go to Atlantis and discover all this? Because that could determine it all too.
Yeah.
I mean, in his relationship.
I'm assuming it's a while based on BVS and the commercial.
Yeah,
so
the way he looks too, like he looks.
Yeah,
like
plus he was in
Willing
Man of Steel too with the whales.
Yep.
True.
Yeah, that was him. All right.
Confirmed.
So like,
but no, it's and that's something we don't know. I mean, Momoa is. I want to say Momoa's in his 30s.
Yeah, he's actually 45.
what?
Oh, he's older than Ben Affleck. Okay.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. He's definitely like.
I'd say he's very buff 45-year-old.
I mean,
Well, Zack Snyder's like
72,
51 or something.
Hugh
or 50.
Jackman, bro.
Yeah, he's pretty big.
Okay, so he's 36. So it's like, if you're playing him based on his age, which I guess is the only thing we can really go on. Like, so if Aquaman really is 35 or 36, chances are he's probably been in Atlantis, 5 or 10 years. So a decent amount of time. It's not like he's the new kid on the block.
It depends if they want to go the others, the Aquaman and the others route. I doubt they will. Like if they went,
Yeah, I
like
think
he's
there
been
is,
trying to
'cause-
discover himself.
In BVS, if you look at the credits, there's actually a character named Kahuna or whatever from Aquaman and the Others.
Hey,
That's in the credits too.
oh, that's the chick he hooks up with, isn't it? Or is that the girl with the hoodie? I gotta relook that up.
They
I'm
should
not
That's
sure.
kill.
interesting.
They should kill Aqua Baby in his movie.
Aqua Baby.
Oh man, that'd be a little early. Clark, what?
Well, I mean, they do stuff early anyway, so it doesn't
True,
matter.
true.
You know who I want to see in the solo movie? Aqualad.
Aqualad.
I'm not sure if I want to see Garth or Calder.
How about both?
Yeah,
and Tula?
but
You can have
probably going to be Calder.
You can have Aqualad. And you can have Teased.
There you go. There you go. It's all coming together, boys. But unfortunately, that movie, since we don't have anything on Justice League yet, we really don't have anything even close to on Aquaman yet. Mainly because Aquaman doesn't come out until 2018. So hopefully we'll hear more about that in the coming months and the coming, I guess, years. But the other movie that is a ways off, 2019, I believe. I might be wrong about that. Isn't Shazam 2019?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2019, ways and light years off. But that hasn't stopped. It's weird that a movie is that far away, and they've got one of their central characters locked in, The Rock.
They wanted The Rock. They knew that much, so they wanted to make sure Marvel didn't get him.
Well, he's been in talks since 2001 for Black Adam specifically.
I know. It was just a joke.
Oh, and Lobo too, right?
Well, he came into Lobo later, but originally back in 2001.
Yeah, and every time he
seems like
goes
he's-
on Twitter and hypes up Black Adam.
Exactly. It seems like he's got a really deep love and appreciation
MTV
for the
Movie
character.
Awards, man.
This is someone that he really wants to play in. Yeah, the MTV Movie Awards. He was, taking pot shots at Marvel and stuff like that. Guns blazing.
Very.
Dude, he said
actually
Marvel
teased-
sucks.
Yeah, he did. So he actually on Twitter teased something really cool today. A fan tweeted at him, and I quote, "Would you be ecstatic if you fought Superman in the Shazam movie, like in Superman/Shazam?" And The Rock actually quoted that tweet. He replied to it, and he said, "Won't happen in the first movie, but nothing would make me happier. He's got it coming. Hashtag Black Adam versus Superman. Hashtag Shazam." So we don't know where they are in the script yet, and it's 2019, so they can take their time.
I've heard the script is almost done actually for Shazam.
Exactly. But that comment I was going to say kind of makes it seem like the script is a lot more solid than what we might know.
Yeah, The Rock also said that Shazam could come sooner too. That's a movie DC's slate is all they can move whatever they want.
It's in flux. It's I think people just look at it as way too solid when really they should look at the slate more as a guideline. This is where we think.
That's when each movie's
it's
coming
plan
out.
A.
We don't
Just
know
because
which
they
one
moved
they
to
are.
Plan B isn't a bad thing.
That's true.
So Black Adam versus Superman/Shazam. Would you guys be okay with kind of a live action Superman/Shazam adaptation? At some point down the line, or
maybe
what
not.
do you expect from the first movie? I guess
Maybe not exact, but
They should
definitely
get Alan Richardson
parts of
for
it.
Shazam.
exactly. Alan Richardson. I don't know if I can say, but given the amount of times that tweet was retweeted and liked, we'll say friend of the channel, Alan Richardson, Thad from Blue Mountain State,
Aquaman from the pilot.
Aquaman from Smallville, that one
Raphael,
guy from
TMNT.
District 1 and Hunger Games, Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but most importantly, friend of the Hybrid Network, Alan Richardson, is our choice. He's the in-house choice for Shazam. He's built. All he needs to do is dye his hair. He'd be perfect. And he does a lot of movies in the same vein The Rock does. But that is my brief plug of the fact that Alan Richardson quoted.
Yeah, I could see John Cena too.
I really do not want that. I think at that point that movie just becomes a meme. It's self-aware.
Yeah, it'd be so fun.
Awesome. It'd be so
Oh
awesome.
god.
It'd be great.
See, that's the thing is you say fun. You say fun.
Because it would be.
Yeah, it's a fun afternoon at the movies. It doesn't take itself seriously.
And I
The
think
question there is where does it fit into the WB DCEU slate? And I want to come out on the record and say that I do not want John Cena to be Shazam. I've seen The Marine enough times to know.
Oh, I like
Have
the
you seen
Marine 3.
I actually have seen Trainwreck, but I don't think he's going to be playing his Trainwreck character. That would be fantastic if he did, though.
you just
Yes,
get John Cena
the
to come
immaturity
on.
part is definitely there.
You just get him to act like
So
a
actually-
kid. It would be great.
Oh, The Rock. He tweeted out, someone asked Team Batman or Team Superman. He said Team Teth. Or Teth Adams.
Exactly.
You know, this actually
He's
isn't
exactly
the
right.
first time he took a pop shot at Superman either. I think it was months ago, back when Fast 7 Furious 7 was being filmed. He tweeted out during his little gym workout, Superman's a bitch or something like that, like Black Adam all the way. Like Black Adam's gonna smack Superman's ass.
No, you
stuff
said
like
Green
that.
Lantern can kick Superman's ass.
Yeah, so,
It's
yeah,
like one
yeah.
of those memes.
Yeah,
People
Jon
thought he
Stewart.
was
You're in the
Jon
gym and this
Stewart.
guy slaps your Superman's ass. WYD.
Dude, what if he
What'd
was
you do,
Jon
fam?
Stewart instead?
That'd be interesting.
Just a huge
Oh, The
curveball.
Rock?
Yeah.
Green Lantern is bigger than
It would
half
be.
the
I mean, it
Justice
would be
League.
an interesting curveball. It would be, I think, the best. Like, and I'm a fan of The Rock, but I think if he had managed to convince people that he was playing Black Adam for this long, best acting The Rock has ever done. Give him like a real life Oscar. You fooled everybody, fam. Good job.
No, Dan M. Boyer fooled everybody.
Dan and Boyer, he fooled us all. All he did was increase his
Got the mother
his
together.
his celebrity status, I guess you could say, for a couple of months.
And nothing.
I love the other thing is Tyrese kept saying, it's like, oh, I've talked to WB. Well, WB's talked to me. And
He
then
was
it
on
comes
Larry
out that-
King.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, on Larry King, he kind of revealed, it's like, okay, so I talked to them about it, but it was more about them feeling like I was tricking people. Pray for me, Larry.
Yeah, he said, "Do you have a shot?" He's like, "I do."
Technically, I've got a shot at being in Green Lantern. It's conceivable.
Being in Green
It's,
Lantern.
it's in the set of all things. I just gotta hit the gym, get good.
Yeah, but Black Adam.
I look. Green is my favorite color. Hal Jordan is one of my favorite characters. Let's get that trending. Hashtag CJ for Hal Jordan.
Oh, Kyle Rayner.
There you go. Kyle Rayner. I can do Kyle Rayner too. I just.
Oh, Andrew Garfield for Kyle Rayner.
I could dig it. Isn't Kyle Rayner vaguely Hispanic?
Yeah.
I think Andrew Garfield is
thought he
vaguely
was
Hispanic. as
Asian.
well. He was Asian?
Oh, I
Kyle
thought he
Rayner
was
Asian.
Hispanic or something.
I don't know.
thought so.
I don't know, man. We're getting off topic here.
Very
Oh, you know
so.
who should play Guy
We were
Gardner?
warned against that.
Oh,
Who should play Guy Gardner?
Fan cast Bradley Cooper.
what's his name? Oh, Marky Mark should play Guy Gardner.
Yes.
Mark, actually, that
Wahlberg.
is pretty
Perfect.
good. That's actually pretty good.
Spot on. But no, let's. I like this idea of the fan casting idea. I'm going to go around and ask each of you, who do you want to play Shazam? Luke, we'll start with you, just because your thing is, I see your name on the Skype thing.
John Cena, man. Like,
John Cena.
I'm terrible at fan casting,
his-
but I really do think if he did like a childish like impersonation or whatever, he actually wouldn't be bad. Actually,
So, Luke, would you say his time is now?
I would say his time is very much now. Yes.
Do. All right, Nick, who would you go with for Shazam?
Me.
Me. All right.
Or
I
Johnny
can dig it.
Sins.
Johnny Sins. Johnny Sins or John Cena. Two Johns get points here. McKinley, who would you want?
Welcome to the WWE Super Slam.
Oh, I love that. That is one of my favorite videos on the internet. She gets so mad.
Yes, but yeah, John Cena. I thought that for a while.
Cena.
Mainly because he doesn't need huge acting chops to play an immature, adult, kid-like person. It's really I'm more worried
you've still
about
gotta
Billy
be
himself.
convincing.
I'm more worried about
That's
Billy.
where the acting chops come in.
True.
I will once again say that friend of the channel, friend of the Hybrid Network, Alan Richson, needs to play Shazam. I know, and Nick, you need to tell the Serial Lord that when you see him at SDCC.
Oh yeah, I'll tell him.
Tell the Serial Lord. Just be like, I tell him I will buy him all of the Lucky Charms that he wants if he casts Alan Richson. A king's ransom.
A king's ransom.
All right. And so with that, Serial Lord, please. We move on to actually a segment that I'm really excited about because we have fan questions for the first time since episode 4. I don't know what we did differently last episode
We asked.
to get fan questions.
Yeah, we asked at the end.
2 of the 6 questions that we got were about Marvel things, so we can't talk about those here, but we will talk about those on the Marvelite as well when that records in a couple of days, probably. So let's start off with the first question. Thoughts on an Aquaman and Wonder Woman team-up movie?
Yeah, this is from Sean Zamir FFXV. He's a regular on Hyper Network.
Oh, yeah, regular.
Yep.
Comments a lot. Thanks for the question, Sean. We did talk about Aquaman today. I think we're kind of going to get this a little bit if they do Throne of Atlantis, aren't we? I mean, it's going to be a team-up movie with everybody, but it's specifically going to be Aquaman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I guess in terms of the merits of I'm guessing he means like a solo Aquaman Wonder Woman like thing. Mm-hmm. In terms of that, they're not necessarily the two characters I would put together. I don't really see a lot of possibilities for a plot there. Like that. So I mean, I would say no, but that's just me. Like I've never really seen them as characters that really mesh together in terms of a solo team up thing.
You know what I think would be great is if we get this undercurrent in the DCEU, where maybe Throne of Atlantis we see Atlantis and Themyscira pitted against each other,
That's what
and
the
sort of
rumor
an
is.
uneasy thing. And then in Justice League 2 we get, maybe okay, so they're getting closer and closer, and then maybe Justice League 3 we actually get Flashpoint Paradox, and we get to see Aquaman and Wonder Woman kind of have that, together and then falling out thing, and then like a pretty cool, very dynamic relationship between the two characters. But Nick and Mckinnley, what do you guys think about a potential Aquaman and Wonder Woman team up?
I don't know about a movie, but I could definitely see a sequence between like them, Wonder Woman and Aquaman having like a badass action scene where they're back to back with like hordes of people with their warlike warrior tendency going all at it. I could see that happening, but as far as plot goes, I don't know, unless they decided to bring like Poseidon as a literal figure versus like Poseidon and Zeus and all the gods. I don't really see it happening as a film per se.
Yeah, I'd rather see an
Nick, any
Aquaman Batman thing, like Brave and the Bold.
That'd be cool.
Outrageous.
I kind of agree. I really agree with McKinley. I think I at least see a sequence. On to our next question. Do you think DC should reorganize themselves after BVS and get some type of leadership? For instance, maybe someone like Grant Morrison or Jeff Johns to be a Kevin Feige-like figure. Or should they have a writing table comprised of prominent comic, TV, and film writers?
Yeah, this is from Neil Ganti, who's also a regular on both podcasts. He comments like really long, thoughtful stuff about
Yes.
the discussion.
Right.
Thank you, Neil, for the comment, and of course, always the question, all of the thoughtful comments. So this is actually a good question, guys. There's been a lot of talk about this after BVS. Really did not. At the very least, I think you can say it has still made almost $800 million, and that is very impressive. But I think everybody would admit that's not exactly as much as WB was expecting. And of course, we know there's the holy, I guess, pentumvirate, the holy, the five piece of Charles Roven, Zack Snyder, Deborah Snyder, Jeff Johns, and then who was the last guy?
Jeff Silverman or something. I don't know, some exec.
Yeah.
from the-
Greg Silverman. And that's the five piece leadership of DC, and a lot of people have called for them to coalesce behind one Kevin Feige like figure. If you had to pick one person, well, first say if you think they need one or not, and then if you had to pick one person, who would you give the keys to the DC universe? We'll go the other way this time. McKinley.
Okay, I don't think they necessarily do yet. I want to see after Justice League. But if I had to pick, I'd pick someone like Grant Morrison or Jeff Johns, only because they're so in tune with the DC universe and history, and their passion for it. But other than that, I don't really know anyone off the top of my head that I couldn't just look up. But just off the top of my head, that's who I would pick.
I like the
Maybe
idea of that.
or
Serial Lord is
Berlanti.
Lord of the-
Maybe Berlanti. Maybe.
Serial Lord is Lord of the DCEU. Nick, who would you go with?
Well, I met Charles Roven too. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh,
I
yeah?
met him like a few days ago at a screening, so that was kind of cool.
What was he like?
How
did he smell?
I don't know. He was wearing like a t-shirt and jeans or something. He was really casual,
Oh, cool.
but he was a cool guy, I guess.
Very cool.
Talked to me at Suicide Squad. I was like, yeah, looks cool. I don't know. I like Grant Morrison would be cool, but he would never do it just because he doesn't like movie stuff. But I think, Jeff Johns is kind of in that role already, but
Yeah.
I'm not
He's
sure.
their,
He needs to
right
step
now
up
it
a
seems
little
like
bit
he's
more.
kind of their. Right now it seems like he's their creative consultant more than anything.
Yeah.
Which I guess is kind of a similar role, but it's not really the planning aspect that Feige has. Luke, who would you, yes or no, do you think they need one? And then who would you hand the keys to the kingdom?
I think they do. BVS, my biggest thing is just that it feels like there's more concern for setting stuff up rather than telling stories, and that's kind of what I want, just stories. So I do think they need a different direction. I was with Nick, actually. I would have said Grant Morrison, but I mean, like, it's like he said, like, he wouldn't do it. Like
Grant is a fifth dimensional being. He doesn't get tied down by such
Yes.
things.
He's a warlock.
Yeah, and
He is actually a warlock.
Yeah, and I
ambassador
mostly would choose Grant Morrison mostly because I truly do believe he knows like the innermost workings of the DC universe to a T, like to a fucking T. This guy knows it in and out more than anyone else, I think. And like Jeff Johns is sort of there. I kind of want him to have a bigger role in terms of guiding it. I do think a creative committee would be nice to have with a bunch of just writers and stuff, but I don't know. Like again, I just think they need to think about it. There's no one I could really think off the top of my head.
That's a very detailed and well thought out response, Luke. How odd that we find that on one of our podcasts. And we'll wrap it up with a question that I think would spark the most discussion, although the last one kind of surprised me. But we're going to do it in a lightning round, which means like 2-word responses, because we got to wrap this episode up. And that is, do you think that DC/WB will let Greg and Netflix renew Young Justice? And if they don't, then how pissed would people get? So what I'm looking for you guys... 1 word, do you think they'll let them? Yes or no? And then if they don't, how pissed would people get? Scale of 1 to 10. Give me the amount of pissed, or would it break the scale? All right, who's this question come from, Nick?
This is from Warukrook. Warukrook.
All right.
I don't know how you.
Thank you, sir. You know who you are. Let's go to Nick first. Yes or no? Scale of 1 to 10. 2-parter.
Maybe I don't know because
Maybe's a word. We can take that.
Maybe, yeah. I think if they don't, people will just feel the same because it's just it's just so. It's not like nothing's set in stone. Like we haven't even had any discussion of a season 3, so.
So I feel like you're at a solid 3.
Not like a 5. I can't go either way.
5? Okay.
Like, there's nothing there.
All right, Luke. Yes or no?
No. And I'd also say a 5. I just don't like.
No and a 5.
There's nothing there to really warrant anyone getting upset, I think.
No and a 5. McKinley.
Hopefully and
yes
a
or
7.
No? 1 to 10. What?
Hopefully and a 7.
Hopefully and a 7. I'm actually going to say, do I think that they'll let them? I'm going to say no. It would be cool if they let them, but I just don't think they're going to do it. I think if the fan support is there, which it looks like it is, I think it would be hard for DC to say no. My answer is probably no, though. And if they don't, then how pissed would people get? I'm going to go even higher. I think if it comes out, the thing is, if it comes out that Netflix was like, sure, we'll renew Young Justice, and then DC was like, nope, then I think people would be like at a flaming 9.
Bring them back, Josh.
But we've got to get like a Benghazi level type thing that happens, like where it leaks that something, there's more to the story than meets the eye. But hashtag the truth is out there. But no, so that kind of brings us to the end of this episode. I'd like to thank, of course, all our regulars, McKinley, Luke, and Nick, for being with me today and talking about all these great topics. Hopefully, we'll see you guys next week if it doesn't get canceled. Just kidding. We're not getting canceled. Mainly because I'm kind of the person that makes those decisions. But any final words, guys?
Support the DCEU.
Yeah, give us money on Patreon.
Please do. If you want access to content like this a day early, if the content isn't that good, you think, give us money anyways. Luke, any last words?
Please, more questions.
Yes. Please, more questions. And I'm going to do the same thing I did last time on Marvel Light last week. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, you stuck around, comment down below. I will mail you a cookie. I've got cookies to mail to several people that asked about it.
Yeah.
But it just helps us, maybe you're more likely to, answer a question. It's just kind of cool to see who's out there and watching our videos all the way through.
Shout out to
Nobody's
LMAO like a cow, because BVS is Cape Kino.
We didn't even say Cape Kino. Oh, God. We went almost the entire podcast. Kino. Word of the day.
Yeah, I've come
Comment
around.
Kino below if you watch the entire thing.
BVS, if you come around and you look at it analytically, you can see that it's pottery, the beginning of the end.
Pottery, dude. It's Pottery Barn. But with that, before we delve into the HN After Hours Bane Posting podcast, we're going to sign off. This is CJ, and for the rest of my series regulars here, we'll see you next week.
Later.
Peace.